Step by step how to close your very first wholesale deal this year in 2023. What's up YouTube, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a step-by-step guide, and while we're at each step, I'm going to drill into my computer and show you how to do that exact step to find and close your very first wholesale deal. This year in 2023, with a lot of uncertainty happening in the economy, especially in the housing market, and will prices continue going up or will prices continue going down? And so taking that into consideration, I think 2023 is a year where we're going to start making offers at prices much lower than what we were doing over the past 2 years. And so that can be good for wholesalers in order for them to get a bigger discount on properties that they can sell off and assign to other investors. So be sure to like this video, comment down below on your strategy in 2023 to wholesale real estate, and be sure to subscribe to this channel as I make videos mostly recently about the housing market as a whole and the economy. I've been getting more into that. And so the first thing I want to talk about is what is wholesale real estate. It's essentially putting a property under contract and then selling that contract over to another investor. Essentially, you're the middleman between a seller and an investor. And so if there's a fixer-upper property and you know someone that owns it, you can put that property under contract at a specific price, right? And then sell that contract for a premium to an investor, and they will pay you, and they will take hold of that contract and close on the property on your behalf, essentially. Well, you're selling the rights to that contract, so they're closing it, and the property will be in their name, and you get essentially the assignment fee. And so you don't actually get to close on a property, or you don't have to bring funds to close on the property because you're selling the property before you actually close on it. And so that's what makes it appealing to a lot of beginners who want to get started in real estate that don't have a lot of money, because it doesn't take so much upfront capital. It does take a little bit of money through the different softwares and the hard work and gas money that you probably have to spend in this business, but it's all worth it, and it's relatively low compared to starting other businesses. And so let's start with the step-by-step guide. So step number one is to take care of your marketing. You have to put yourself in front of sellers. That's essentially the most important part of the puzzle with wholesale real estate, is to talk in front of sellers, talk in front of buyers, period. There's so many other things that a lot of wholesalers talk about, but those are the main things. And by the way, in my journey with wholesale real estate over the past couple of months, I've been concentrating on long-term rentals, so I haven't been so invested in wholesaling. But now I'm asking and talking to wholesalers to bring me deals, or looking at what deals they have in order for me to close on them and hold it long term. All right, so marketing. So the first way I would say to market and to find motivated sellers is through a real estate software like Propstream. If you all are interested in Propstream, check my link down below. You get a 7 free day trial. But with Propstream, you can find motivated sellers that fit a specific criteria that you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for pre-foreclosures, if you're looking for vacant properties, if you're looking for people who are going through a bankruptcy or a divorce, you can find that all on Propstream. And like I said on this video, this is going to be very hands-on, step-by-step guide. So let me drill into my computer, pull up a city, and let's drill in and find a list that we can target. All right, so I just pulled up Atlanta, Georgia, and then from here, we're going to click filters. And then I want to look for a vacant property. Vacant properties are properties that no one live in. You're probably driven by houses that you wonder who lives there, or you never notice any cars there or people coming in and out of there. And those are properties that, hey, a person, an investor can, make beautiful and make the neighborhood nicer and whatnot. And so that's a criteria that you can look at. So I'm just going to click vacant right here, and that brings my list down to 7455. And then another thing that I look for in a motivated seller is that they own the property for some years, right? Because I don't want to go after properties that are fresh, right? Because a property may be vacant because an investor just bought it and they're just waiting for their workers to get started at working at the property. Or someone just moved in and they love their property. They're not going to move anytime soon. So I like to do properties that the owner owned the properties for at least 5 years. So right here on ownership information, I'm going to put minimum years of ownership at 5 years. And that brings the list down to 2465. The next thing is equity. So equity is very important because equity talks about how much property, how much value is on the property, or how much equity is on the property. So in wholesale real estate, it's difficult to wholesale a property that has low equity. So, for example, if you're targeting and marketing to a property and someone owes $100,000 on a property and the property is worth $50,000, it's going to be hard for you to wholesale that property and make money, right? So you're trying to find properties that have a lower loan balance and a higher equity balance in order for you to make cash. And so from here, I like to put at least 30% equity. And then boom, you have a list of 2355 on Propstream that you can target vacant properties. Another thing on Propstream is like you can actually drill in and target a specific area. So let's say you want to target this area right here. You can click this draw arrow button and then click right here. Just click once to make the first sign, then the second, third, fourth. And then from here, you click search. And it'll pull up properties in this specific shaded area with our same filters on. And essentially, that is what I would do on Propstream. And then from here, I can click unique properties and then add to list. And then those lists, you create a list and then they will be added to your contacts tab. I can't really drill into it now because it has the properties, owners, information, and name, and YouTube doesn't allow me to really show that information because of privacy, which is understandable. So from that tab, you can actually download that list on an Excel sheet so you can better organize and see and know when to contact these specific people. So the other method to find your very first wholesale deal is driving for dollars. And to me, this is the very best way to get your very first deal because driving for dollars puts you out in the field. You get familiar with seeing properties. You get familiar with your neighborhood that you're driving around. And I think it's great because you get to notice, okay, well, this house, it has a bunch of leaves in its gutter, or the grass hasn't been cut in like 5 months or something like that. And so you look at these telltale signs in a property to know if it's in need of repair. And so that's one of the very best things to do in your journey in wholesaling real estate. So Deal Machine. So Deal Machine is an app that I use in order to drive for dollars. So I usually use it on your phone, but I'm just pulling up the desktop version to make this more simple, but it actually follows you while you drive. And let's say you want to, for example, click this house while you're driving because you notice it's in need of repair. So it'll pull up the information. And for example, this owner is an absentee owner, right? So meaning this property owner doesn't actually live in the house. Either they're renting it out or for some reason they're doing something else with it. Or it's just vacant, right? And so you can click add lead, and just like Propstream, you can download that lead list into Excel so you can better organize it. And then from there, you can start to call these lists. And so Propstream and Deal Machine, check the links down below if you all are interested in these two softwares. They're great for beginners. Very easy to use, so make sure you support this channel and click the links down below. And by the way, for every step I'm talking about, I have tons of videos. And so for example, if you just want a video about Deal Machine or just a video about Propstream, I probably have 10 videos on Propstream on my channel. And next step, I'm going to talk about skip tracing. I have a standalone video on skip tracing, on cold calling. So I'll put them on the video, so be sure to check the different video links on this video. So the next step is to put yourself in front of this list of people that you found on Propstream or on Deal Machine. And so you have to download that list and you have to go through a process called skip tracing in order to get the phone numbers. Yes, you can mail out marketing letters to them, but that's just more expensive. And this video is more geared towards beginners and they don't have much funds, but yes, you can mail out letters. It's just more expensive. So with cold calling your list, you have to go through skip tracing. On Propstream, you can skip trace also, and with the subscription, you get a very discounted price on finding phone numbers for people on your list. Another good website is batchskiptracing.com. You upload your list and they spit out numbers to you that you can call later. And yes, you can use your regular phone to call these numbers, but you can use other softwares like a CallRail in order to find an area code similar or the same area code according to the area that you're targeting, right? Because, for example, my area code is different than the area code that I usually target. And so I use a software like CallRail in order to mask my number and have an area code familiar with people around here so they can be more motivated to answer my phone call as opposed to my specific number. And it's just better for protection for my number, so it won't get flagged or anything like that for marketing purposes. So make sure you go through that process. Another thing that you can do, you can use a phone dialing system. Let's say your list is about like 2,000 records or 5,000 records. You don't want to hand down all of those records, right? And so you can use a software like Batch Dialer, Phone Burner. And of course, I have videos, links of using these different softwares, but essentially they dial the numbers for you. You upload your list with the numbers and they just go bang, bang, bang. They call each number for you. So you don't have to manually dial it. So be sure to cold call these lists. All right, so talking to the sellers is a very interesting step because you have to bring out the motivation behind why a person may be motivated to sell. And so through that, you understand and you can target them more effectively. And so how to find motivation. So number one, you can ask them about the condition of the property. And so they can start talking about, oh, well, the roof is this, it's a pain, and that just naturally brings out the motivation. Another thing that you can ask them is, oh, what would be your time like to sell? They're like, well, I need to get out because this or that, and that will give you a motivation. And then the price, what they're looking for the property. And that will be one of the most important parts of the wholesaling process because you have to be able to comp a property. Comping is essentially looking at sales data around the area you're targeting or around the house that you're targeting and being able to get a value for the house, the after repair value once the property is all renovated. And one way you do that is just by looking on Zillow and looking at sold data, right? And you look up different houses around that area and then you look at the pictures, see if there's new paint, new flooring, new appliances, right? And you take that number down and you find a couple of these houses and you find the medium of those prices. Of course, similar bedrooms and baths and square feet, right? You don't want to take a high-end house and compare it to a low-end house, right? And so you find that information and that's the offer that's the price you base your offer off of. So for example, if the after repair value is $100,000, all fixed up, this house is worth $100,000. But right now you're talking to the seller and there's a leaky roof and they're trying to move out in 30 days, right? Obviously the property is not worth $100,000. It's going to be worth $100,000 once you fix it up or once the investor fix it up. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do what's called a 70% rule. Now, a 70% rule is essentially getting the value of the property after repairs, right? So you get that $100,000 and you multiply it by 70%. Now you're at $70,000. Then you have to subtract the repairs. So if there's a roof leaking, that's probably a pricey repair, maybe $7,000 to $10,000. If it needs new flooring, new paint, that's another 10 grand, maybe new appliances in the kitchen and bathrooms, another $15,000. And so you may be looking at $30,000. And then from there, you subtract $30,000. So you're down to $40,000. And let's say you want to make $5 grand from this deal. You subtract your assignment fee. So your offer price now is $35,000. And that's what the maximum allowable offer is for that particular property. So the next thing you have to do is once you all agree upon a price, you have to sign a contract. Let me drill into my computer and show you all the contract that I use. All right, so we're here on my purchase and sales agreement that I usually use. It's just one page. The most important thing to understand is very self-explanatory. You just put the price right here and the closing date which I like to put out at least 45 days out. Just with title companies being jam-packed. Where they were jam-packed, maybe they slow down a little bit. And then this is probably the most important thing, actually, the assignment clause. So I put a whole clause just for assignment. This is very important because you have to make sure that your contract says that a buyer has an unqualified right to assign its right under this contract. If you don't have a clause, you can put and or assigns after your name, giving you the right to assign this contract over to a buyer. All right, so after that step, you had to find a cash buyer. One way to find cash buyers is through Facebook RIA groups. So RIA groups are just real estate investment groups where investors meet, and usually there's a Facebook group associated with that. And so right here, the good thing about Facebook, you can search up posts. So for example, I recently searched up cash buyers. And you can look at the posts about cash buyers, look at the comments of people who left their names. You can PM them, private message them on Facebook. If they left their email, you can email them the information about the property you have under contract. After that, after you find a cash buyer, another way to find a cash buyer actually is through Propstream. Once again, check my link down below if you're interested in Propstream. But you can go down, go to filters, and click cash buyers right here. So they have a very simple, quick and easy cash buyer list that you want to use around your area that you're trying to find cash buyers in. And then from there, you use this assignment of contract. So you put your name right here as the buyer, okay? The purchase contract on, you put the address, then the seller's name, and then the date, and then your assignment fee. Let's say it's $5,000, you put that there. You put a non-refundable, so usually like $2,000 that gets back assigned to you. Buyer shall close on or before, blase, blase, and then all closing costs unless otherwise indicated. Right there, you have to make sure the buyer is aware that they're paying all closing costs, right? Up front, you got to tell them in person, and you got to put it in a contract. I made the mistake in my first deal of not being totally upfront about the buyer paying the closing costs, and so I had to bite the bullet a little bit on the closing costs, but it was only like $200-300. And my assignment fee was $14,000. So for my first deal, which is decent, And so yeah, that's how you use the assignment contract and find cash buyers. All right, so the next thing is finding a title company. Finding a title company is super easy. You can go back on Facebook and make a post on these real estate groups and put, hey, wholesaling friendly title companies, and people will send it to you, right? Easily. Another thing is you can Google search title companies, call every one of them in your area, see if they do assignment on contract. Essentially, if they assign contracts to investors, and they would know that what that means. If they say no, just move on. If they say no, that's illegal, move on. You're going to find one that does that. And essentially, the title company brings all the parties together. They disperse the funds. They do a title search on the property, make sure there's no weird judgments or liens. They make sure any liens or loans or mortgages are paid off from the sale of the property, from the funds of the cash buyer, and you get paid. And essentially, that's the end of the wholesale deal. So this was a step-by-step guide on how to close your very first wholesale deal. Let me know what you all think down below. Do you think in 2023 it may be a little bit different finding your very first wholesale deal, or finding consistent deals and period in general? Let me know down below. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel as I make videos about the housing market and how to navigate it as a whole, and just information and news about the housing market. All right, talk to y'all later.